That's still so weird. Hey everyone, it's time once again, long time coming for another episode of Mid Card Mana. It is 6 a.m. in Hawaii, so we are pretty bleary. Yeah, we do it for the love of all two people that watch this. Um, I don't even know if it's actually two people consistently, but thank you, I guess. Anyway, we are going to talk about.
One being your mom.
No, my mom doesn't watch this.
But she doesn't watch anymore. Damn, we lost a viewer.
Yeah, she said I swear too much, so she just couldn't.
Fucking it.
She couldn't support it.
It's not.
Anyway, we're gonna be talking about in this video. We're gonna be talking about Wrestle Grand Slam at the MetLife Dome. Me and my grandpa stayed up until 11:30 watching this last night.
I think I finally finished watching it. It was like 12:30 or so.
Yep.
I had to go back and catch the beginning, which I missed. I think I caught the beginning and the last match, the main event. So,
All right, so let's just go down the line and talk about the 2 nights of action. All right, so the first match, which was the pre-show of night 1, was Queen's Quest, being represented by Momo Watanabe and Saya Kamitani versus Micah and Lady C. This is a Stardom exhibition match. And so I had put it on because I told my grandpa we're going to watch both. I didn't expect we were going to be watching both of them, but I figured we can at least watch one and maybe part of the second one. And then he just decided to stay up with me and watch the whole thing. So it was great.
Yeah.
But he was really impressed by Stardom. I think that match made him a fan of Momo Watanabe.
I mean, that's why they're including these right now, too. I mean, I think New Japan's in the long haul with Stardom owners. And they want it to be as big as New Japan is and try to get that audience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, so including them in the beginning, it's smart, especially when the shows are, so you got like that half hour in the beginning waiting anyway.
Yeah. Definitely. And I know they've had a lot of Stardom matches, or well, not lots and lots, but they've had several shows at this point now that had Stardom pre-show or dark matches that never made it onto the actual show when it's playing live on New Japan World. So I think this is really cool that finally we're starting to get to see it.
Yeah.
Instead of people who want to watch these Stardom matches having to look at random videos or pictures that people are taking in the arena or wait until Stardom World uploads it, which doesn't always happen immediately. So I think it's really cool that now New Japan is starting to really buy in to Stardom, which is nice because, this is a whole other side of wrestling fandom that now they can reach out to. Stardom is really popular. I mean, I like Stardom. I miss Kagetsu because she was my favorite, but yeah, so I'm glad that they have this, and I was very interested by the fact that for night 1, the 4 talents that they had on display were Momo Watanabe, of course, because Momo is probably one of the bigger stars in Stardom right now. Saya Kamitani, who just has been in Stardom for a couple of years. She just did a kind of gimmick change and joined Queen's Quest and kind of started to break out of her sort of rookie shell. And then you have Micah and Lady C, who is still gunning for that win in Stardom. It'll happen one of these days. But yeah, so it's very interesting, the talent that they selected for night 1. Night 2, I'm a little bit less surprised by that talent, but night 1, I was a little surprised by the inclusion of Micah and Lady C, which is cool. But yeah.
And I mean, they were good matches. You know, it's good to introduce the fans. You know, especially I think American fans. Like you said, harder time to catch it and everything. It'll be interesting to see where they go, if they want to go in a more blended format, like bringing them into New Japan, or if they'll actually keep pushing it until they get their own thing going.
Yeah, I thought that they were going in the direction of bringing them into New Japan when B. Priestley started coming in with Ospreay, and then that kind of disintegrated. And now we don't even see Ospreay on TV and the main shows, so it's been a win.
Like let's not jinx that.
Well, he's on the strong shows, and he showed up at Resurgence, which maybe was the only thing that I was like, well, I guess I'm glad I missed that, because I was supposed to go to Resurgence, and I just wept about everything else.
He can stay on the strong shows. I might be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay with that. I think just Jeff Cobb should be the head of United Empire now. At this point, he beat, and we'll actually talk about it when we're talking about later matches in this show. So let's move forward. All right, so we have Team Flying Tigers, which is Tiger Mask and Robbie Eagles, who were a tag team through the Super Junior Tag Tournament. And LIJ's Bushi and Hiromu in a tag match. Yeah. Kind of setting up for Night 2's Hiromu versus Robbie Eagles, but also kind of revisiting this really well-established tag team in LIJ, of course, being Bushi and Hiromu, who have done several Super Junior Tag Leagues together, versus Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask 4, who have never really tagged together prior to their team up in the Super Junior Tag League this year, and they were really successful.
I have the hardest time getting behind Robbie Eagles.
Really? I guess it's not surprising to me, but like, I know a lot of people that are very into Robbie Eagles, and like, he's one of the few people that left Bullet Club that people are like, man, I wish Robbie Eagles is back. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I don't dislike him. I don't dislike him. I think he's really cool. Or I think he had a really cool Bullet Club shirt. I loved that Sniper of the Sky shirt.
Yeah.
That was dope. But yeah, it's been very interesting to see where all of my friends stand on Robbie Eagles, especially during this sort of New Japan run that he's been having.
And I would say that even goes as far as Phantasma too. Both of them, Bullet Club wise, to me, just I don't know, never just felt. You know, it was like, oh, pickings are getting slim. Let's just toss these two guys in there. We need, you know, I don't know. It just never caught my attention. So yeah, I mean, for me, like the Bullet Club run would probably be the most successful run he had. Like I don't feel. I mean, he's in the opening. You know, Tiger Mask isn't. You know, he doesn't have a big run right now. Hasn't been quite a while. So it's an interesting pairing. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what to really think about Robbie Eagles. I don't know.
Well, your comments here now, when we talk about Night 2, are gonna really hurt me. Thank you for that. But I liked this match. It didn't surprise me. I hate to say it, but you know, whenever Bushi's in a match, in a tag match, most of the time he's there to be the one that suffers the pinfall or submission, which is a shame that we kind of have unfortunately been conditioned to feel that way or think that way, because Bushi's great. Like,
right.
Every single member of LIJ is very talented, and it's just unfortunate for him, I think, frequently that he gets overshadowed, or he's the one that won't have a match on the card and will be in the New Japan Rumble or be in a 4, 6, 8-man tag match,
He's often like just seen as a representative of LIJ in the undercard somewhere. Like take the pinfall, which is crazy to me. Again, not to stab you while you're down, but I would place Bushi way higher than I would Robbie Eagles. I mean, I just would.
I agree, and that's aside from me being LIJ for life, but he has such a record. He's been junior tag champ, junior tag champ, junior champ. He was the junior before Hiromu was in LIJ. He has so much history in that group, but also so much history in New Japan's junior division that I feel, again, it's unfortunate for him that Hiromu came in, because then Hiromu just sort of blew everyone else away. That's what the Time Bomb does. And they talk about it actually in night 2, and we'll go back to it when they're talking about night 2. But anyway, I liked this match. I like Tiger Mask. I'm a Tiger Mask mark. So anytime I get to see Tiger Mask actually like have a competitive match,
it's kind of heartbreaking, I'll be honest, with Tiger Mask for me. I guess because I've just been watching for so long, even if it's been off and on. I remember when Tiger Mask was like big. That was, it was something to have a Tiger Mask performing still. And to watch over the years for him to go at least from the main start in the junior division and just slowly start going down the card to where he's always the opening match, it seems. It's almost been you should retire already. I feel that in a lot of ways. I mean, just kind of like Jushin Liger. They had like the Liger Tiger Mask run as a tag team there for a little while, and it was kind of like nostalgia. Oh god, this used to be my junior division. And of course Liger finally did retire. I kind of feel the same way for Tiger Mask already. Like this is someone to me that I thought would eventually graduate into the heavyweight division. Like so many.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird that he never has.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised by it, and I feel bad for saying this, but I don't know what else he has left to do in the junior division.
Nothing. That's kind of it.
And I guess we'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about night 2 as well. But yeah, so I was very I'm always happy to see Tiger Mask. I always pop for that music, and I always run around just screaming, go, Tiger, go, Tiger, whenever it comes on, because it's just like gets you pumped up, man. Yeah, anyway, speaking of breaking my heart, this next match definitely destroyed me. So it was bound to happen. We all know it was bound to happen. Everyone was trying to figure out when Roppongi 3K was going to break up, and recently they finally did. Yo was on a long losing streak, and Sho finally got fed up with it. He didn't go in the ring and save him, and then afterwards, after that match ended, he publicly gave up on Yo, gave him a shock arrow, left him out. And so this was the grudge match. This was akin to me, and other people might disagree, but to me, this was like Evil versus Sonata at the Wrestle Kingdom. Sho versus Yo.
Yeah.
And boy, did this match make me cry tears and tears.
Yeah, I thought about that as well. I was like, oh, Angie's probably not too happy with this. You were kind of like the fourth member. I mean, really. Yo, Rocky, and you.
Okay, as much as I want to claim that for real, my mom got a picture with Rocky Romero before I did, so I don't know if I can claim that
it's your mom,
as much as my mom.
So, it's your mom. So, I mean, that sort of thing happens to the fourth member.
I did recognize Roppongi 3K kick pads that Davey Kusano had, and I was the only one. I was like, Roppongi 3K. And he was like, yeah, I love those guys. But yeah. So that's my deep love of Roppongi 3K. So you all can understand just how much this match hurt me. I love both of them. I often referred to them as like my little brothers, even though both of them are older than me, because I have no perception of anything. So this match was good. Really older? Both of them are older than me. Sho is a couple months older than me because he's born in August of 1989, and then Yo's born in 88. Yeah, right? I was surprised. I was like, wow. Genuinely thought they were both younger.
I thought it was probably the best match on the card, really, performance-wise. And I haven't really been keeping up with it as much as I should. I knew they had broken up, and I knew this match would be coming. And I was kind of left like, okay, is there going to be like a big twist? For a couple times there, I thought, okay, who's like, as it stands, we see who's face and who's heel. But for a moment there, I thought it might switch. Just like, big twist on.
I thought about that too, and I had hopes, I guess, because I didn't want it to be a total wipeout, But I was also genuinely surprised by how quickly they had come to this match. You know what I mean? With getting Evil and versus Sonata for real took a long time. There was a lot of build to it, and so I was surprised that Sho and Yo fought each other so quickly. I guess it makes sense now considering everything that happened, but I was surprised. I guess it was something that they wanted more to get out of the way, which hurts because it's with Sho winning, it feels very much like now Yo is kind of left with not much. Except to possibly rebuild. And I guess so skipping to the post match, I guess now they no longer are in the same faction, of course. Sho is, I don't think it's like official, but basically he's joined Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Because I have so many friends that were just like 6 months ago, last year or so, where they were just like, Sho would be good in Bullet Club. And I was just like, no, don't break up my Roppongi 3K. And then it happened. Interesting. He specifically is in the sort of sub-faction House of Torture with Evil, Dick Togol, and Yujiro.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to me.
I think like several things. Like I did think this was probably like the match of the night. I don't know like if I would have booked it this way particularly. I think it might have even been better if they'd had the team break up with more emotion than like an attack at the end of the breakup. Like if he just walked away disgusted, I think the match would have more meaning. Like it'd be more mysterious, you know what I mean? Like where do they lie? Are they just going to hash it out and still be friends or whatever? Um, and I think if they had held off until like maybe the G1 climax, like had them meet in the G1 climax instead
Have
of
them
this,
both go heavyweight.
yeah. And it's a forced match. It's not like a match we've been booked to per se. Then they meet, and it's kind of like, okay, now we let all the emotion come out together, and it is one match of several, and tell their story in that, and then build off of that, maybe. And then in that match, have Bullet Club interfere or whatever. I thought that was an interesting point where Bullet Club comes out, or at least the sub faction comes out with Evil, and he joins, but they didn't interfere in the match or anything.
Yeah.
I didn't like that part of it. Like I would have much preferred Evil or whoever come out and then interfere, and we get him to join that way instead of like the clean win.
I wonder if the reason why they avoided doing that was because it would be too many parallels with what happened with Evil when he beat Naito in New Japan Cup. Because that was what I was I was thinking about, is how much I instinctively kind of compared this to in the beginning, right, to Evil versus Sonata, Show versus Yo, and I thought about it, and I was like, maybe that's why things kind of played out just slightly differently. But it's also interesting to note that the person that came out for Evil first was Yujiro, and the person that came out first to sort of welcome Show is Yujiro.
Yeah. I think what they'll end up doing here is that Show will always have Yo's number. Like no matter what, like even if like they both build separately from here on out, if they have plans for Yo, I think every time him and Show fight each other, Show will come out on top. And then until you build to that big moment, if these two guys are going to be your next big stars, which they are likely to be, several
Hopefully.
years in the making.
Yeah.
If Yo's ever that world champion, and you build to Show versus Yo again, that will be the time where Yo will finally, hopefully, beat him. I think that's probably what they're planning, because New Japan likes to play the book out pretty far in advance.
Yeah.
If we don't get that, it's going to be really sad.
I will be really sad for sure.
But yeah, I think that was probably the best match of night one that I could think of at the moment.
Right. Let's move on to the next match in night one. So this is for the King of Pro Wrestling 2021 trophy. This is a no disqualification, I quit match between, going into the match, the current holder Chase Owens versus Toru Yano.
Yeah.
One of the few people that every time he comes out, my grandpa is like, "Ho, what a funny man!" Every time. Yano, notably, going back to his sort of Great Bash heel aesthetic.
Yeah, almost gimmick-wise, it felt that way too. And I really kind of wanted that. When I see Yano, I get the comical value and almost the Eddie Guerrero feel to his character quite often, where that comes into play. But honestly, this match came on and I couldn't help but think, the pandemic's really struck hard. These two guys are featured, especially Chase Owens. They're featured hard. Chase Owens, who's had a lot of controversy over the last couple of years, Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was an okay match.
I was satisfied by the outcome, and honestly, I liked the Yano aesthetic change. I appreciate when he does that, um, because it means something. You know what I mean? Every time he's done it in the last couple of years, let's say, it's to signify a match that is so important to him that he feels that need to take it back to what he was, right? The last time, or the last big time I remember him doing it was in his bull rope match against Suzuki.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I would almost like to see Yano go back to, this heel persona and I mean, really turn it up, as far as like the hardcore cheating and all that stuff. Especially since it's almost like Suzuki's gone.
Yeah, Suzuki is currently in the US.
Yeah,
so
sure.
There's definitely a void that is felt. And we'll talk about that again when we talk about night 2. It's definitely very interesting now that the roster is split in the way that it is. And I think that's a lot of what contributed. And, my Thomas Island friends and my Bullock friends probably aren't going to be happy with me saying this, but this is probably what contributed so much to Chase Owens being in the position that he's in.
Yeah.
I've never really been crazy about Chase Owens. He's the one member of Bullet Club that I just am like, never going to buy the shirt, and I have my own other issues from what I've seen that has colored my perception on Chase Owens. But as a heel, he works for me because I'm always going to boo him. So that works. Any kind of heat works for a heel. Even go home heat as I'm screaming, God, Bushi, don't lose to Chase Owens. So it works for what he's
he's
his
the moniker.
purpose.
If you lose to Chase Owens, you're kind of low card.
Yeah. Which luckily Yano beat him, so thank God.
Yeah.
In an I Quit match, no less.
Yeah.
And I appreciated like how we were talking about Yano kind of really going back to that Great Bash Shield, Most Violent Players sort of vibe, where he literally pulls out some scissors, man. Like,
I was surprised that was the end of the match. I was expecting some blood. So yeah, good props to Chase Owens for selling that.
Yeah, I have to respect that he was willing to go into this crazy match.
Yeah.
All right, so I think the match that to me was match of the night just because of how surprised I was at the outcome. I wasn't surprised at the outcome for Show versus Yo. Honestly, as much as it hurts me to admit, I figured Show was going to win. Just with how they've been building it. And it wasn't enough time for Yo to really start rebuilding for him to get that win. But this match, which felt main event worthy, was the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, versus the Aloha Maker, Jeff Cobb. I appreciate that he uses the Rainmaker except with the Shaka. So
this was also a really good match. I did really enjoy this match. And it was kind of a surprising outcome.
Yeah. I was stunned. Me, my grandpa, my dad, people across the street, because I was screaming so loud, all of us stunned.
Oh, Jeff Cobb was the one. Hopefully this is signs that, Ospreay's not returning anytime soon.
J1 this year, the J stands for Jeff, the G stands for give him.
So yeah, it was a really good match. I was glad to see, Okada put Cobb over. He's a beast. I mean, to watch him over the years and really trim down and just at the same time become more massive. Like he's huge. Not planning to have this guy in your main event would be a tragedy
and a waste.
Yeah.
Of course we think that way because we are all about the pride of Hawaii, Jeff Cobb. But I was thinking, yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking about it. It goes to show how much they must really value him because his two biggest feuds this year were Ibushi and Okada.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely indicative of maybe possibly more run-ins with the main event picture. I would be 100% about it. And I really enjoyed kind of the back and forth between Cobb and Okada here with some Okada taunting, which I liked because we don't usually see that side of Okada, especially against somebody that is so solidly established as a heel like Jeff Cobb and the United Empire are. So I liked the dynamic of this match, and it genuinely surprised me, the outcome, in a good way. Because I do think now, if anything, is the time to capitalize on Jeff Cobb.
I'm really surprised. I mean, I don't know, after this run with New Japan is up, I guess we'll see who comes knocking. I mean, if he was 5 inches taller, Triple H would be all over him, and Vince for that matter.
Yeah.
Triple H probably was already until the current situation. That's another story. But I mean, it's sort of a shame that we haven't got to see Jeff Cobb fight a lot of top world talent already. I mean, he's absolutely seems like he's at the peak of his career right now. I mean, it really does. So I don't know. Okada, considered one of the best in the world. So I mean, it says it all right there. I'm hoping we get a nice feud with Tanahashi before he retires, which is coming soon. So
it has to be, yeah.
Maybe they'll put the U.S. on Cobb.
And then he should reject it and be like, well, Hawaii's not part of the United States.
Yes.
Do it for the Lahui.
Get out of it. I'm renaming this title. A big sticker across of it.
I would pop so huge. This is the Hawaiian Kingdom belt.
That'd be so amazing.
I would. Oh, all my money. I'd be like, here. All right.
So many subscriptions we start.
Oh man, it'd be so good, and so many people outside of Hawaii would take that as heat, so it would work. All right, so the main event. Speaking of the future Hawaiian Kingdom belt, this was for the current IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. This was the champion Hiroshi Tanahashi versus the Golden Star, Light of My Life, in his first match back after his extended bout with illness, Kota Ibushi. And man, it was so weird to see Ibushi just look physically smaller.
Yeah, especially
like you could really tell that he had been struggling with being sick, and boy, man, that one hit me hard.
For his world title run, he got massive. He was pretty big, which I don't know, for me, like over the years, seeing him as a junior, graduate to a heavyweight, it was like, can this guy get any bigger? Really? I mean, he was already really muscular. And he did. Don't know how. That's not the point here. So yeah, I mean, I agree. You know, this match just did not do it for me. There was something off
Yeah.
This match.
You know,
and I don't know if it was Ibushi or if it was Tanahashi or if it was both.
it felt like the timing was weird of this, and I feel bad for saying so because, as you know, I love Tanahashi. He's one of my favorite New Japan uncles. I love Ibushi. He's my favorite. Just in general, he's my favorite. And I was excited for this match, but as the match was going on, it became less and less exciting to me for no other reason than I kind of felt like there wasn't a chance. You know what I mean? And that hurt.
Yeah, I think I mean, just several factors going into it. You know, is Tanahashi really going to lose the belt this early? You really felt like no.
Going in, I was like, he lost to Jay White pretty fast, so maybe.
True. But yeah, this just the match itself, it just felt like, man, I don't know. Tanahashi definitely felt like he was off his game that night. You know, his selling was there, but just doing the moves felt a little bit.
Those sling blades were harder to come by. Yeah, that was when I really noticed it. Because usually,
does the cameraman need to like stand up higher or something? Or I don't know. They felt bad, especially for Tanahashi. You know, who we kind of hold to. He's a modern legend.
Yeah.
And I know that term is kind of tossed around a lot easier nowadays, but
hey, Tanahashi survived being stabbed by a crazy ex-girlfriend. Okay, he's a legend. Let him have it.
But I mean, he'll go down as a legend. Along with the ranks of so many others. In Japan in general, he's the ace, and he's been the biggest ace anywhere in Japan since the top four guys way back when.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to see. He doesn't have that age factor to me yet. Like, it's not Chono or Muto without knees anymore in the ring, wrestling and everybody being like, God, they suck now. And you go, but look at him. He's obviously like 60 years old. And, physically can't, go at that,
same pace. Yeah.
Talent, momentum anymore. Tanahashi's not there yet.
Yeah, no. So we had looked up the ages of these competitors because my family didn't believe that Ibushi was in his late 30s. Right. And I looked it up. I was like, yeah, I think he's 38. And I looked it up and it's like, no, he's 39. He turned 39 earlier this year. And Tanahashi's 44. Right. So, these are guys that are not young boys. Yeah. They're kind of at the point in their career where they know what they're capable of. They kind of know their strengths and weaknesses a little bit better. They know what works for them, they know what doesn't. And so
Tanahashi's been on top for a long, long time now, though. Yep. So, he's at that point.
Yeah. And that's another thing we'll talk about when we talk in our next video. Or we'll talk about night 2. But yeah.
So I wasn't like really surprised about the outcome all that much, but it was kind of, the match itself was kind of like this was it.
And it was hard because I was so excited about this match, and nothing against either of these guys. Still love Tanahashi, still adore Ibushi, but it just, especially after, and it's funny because my dad actually said something too, especially after Cobb and Okada, a tough enough act to follow. this match, I think, didn't feel as big.
Yeah.
And it was for a title. So my
And-
dad was
Yeah.
dad was just like, oh man, they really having a hard time, huh? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, after Cobb and Okada. Like, and I was just like, ooh.
That could have been part of it, but like you said, the timing was just off, you know. Whereas Cobb and Okada, they were on it. They were on their game.
And I think a lot of it has to do with, it feels like there were a couple of storylines going into this that they kind of pushed. They wanted to kind of force a hand, so to speak. So it ended up here, rather than at the next show, which, I mean, of course, if you want all the big matches at Wrestle Grand Slam, of course, and I get it, especially after the first Wrestle Grand Slam was so affected by COVID.
Right.
But some of it seemed a little too rushed, you know. And I get it, because now the next so many shows are going to be kind of consumed by the G1, that it was easier to pull the trigger now than to have to stew and wait on it.
Just the last thing I want to say about this match is that the storytelling was there. Like, you could
absolutely,
you could see that it was kind of playing out, and they just lost the crowd, you know, I think. And like I said, the timing was off. So I was watching it. I was like, we should be so much more invested watching this than I really am. You know, it's like I feel like I should really feel like Ibushi's gonna win.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
especially blocking it. You know, he's like, he's blocking the finisher and everything. And it's like, I'm just not invested in this. Like, they just lost me.
All right, I'm gonna stop this one and start another one for night 2, so it's not like a 2-hour long video. So we're gonna sign off really fast on this one.